Hey everybody, my name is Alex from Hake Hardware, and in this video we're going to be modifying this Sabrent USB 3.0 hard drive docking station to increase the airflow and make sure that my hard drive stays cool. So out of the box, this thing has a mesh grill on not only the outside here, but if you look on the inside, there's also a mesh grill here. Now I think this internal one is actually completely useless because the drive is going to be sitting over it most of the time, and there's not really going to be any chance for anything to get through this mesh grill to hit the fan. And I've actually been using another one of these for quite a while without this mesh here, and it's been working totally fine. Now the one on the outside, I do want to leave some level of protection in case I need to move this around while it's operating, which is very rare. But I don't want to have no protection at all. I suppose you could, but I'm going to be putting this 80mm grill fan, and I'll have a link to not only this drive, but where to get these grills on Amazon in the description. So be sure to check that out. But let's jump into exactly how to modify this. It's pretty easy. It's only a few steps to get this grill on. All right, so it's pretty simple. What you're going to do is flip it over on the back side here. These little feet have some sort of glue that isn't really that strong, so you can easily just peel these off and stick them back on. And that is going to expose 4 screws. I'm just going to remove these screws here to get access to the mesh grill. And this is probably the hardest part. You need to get something that can pry this up. I actually just kind of stick my screwdriver in here and peel it up a little bit. Sometimes it doesn't work great. Let's see. It's definitely helpful if you have something with a smaller tip that you can really get in here and try and pop it up. So you can see I just kind of pulled it up and back, and it feels like it tugs a little bit, but it will come. You just need to be a little gentle with it and pry around the edges until you can get this whole thing off. So don't pull too hard. You don't want to break this plastic, but it will come. It just takes a little bit of wiggling. All right, perfect. So we've got this bottom cover off. The next thing we're going to do is remove the mesh grill on the fan. And make sure to keep all of these screws because you will be using all of these again when you reassemble it. All right, once you have those out, you can actually pull the whole fan off and just separate this mesh grill. Again, they put these on here pretty good, but it does come right off. There's nothing that actually holds it on there. And then you can also remove the bottom one as well. So we've got both of the grills removed. Okay, you're going to want to make sure that when you put the fan in, it goes back in the same direction that it came out, and that is going to be with the wire on the bottom side. So if you can see the wire like this, it's facing the wrong way. You're going to want to have it facing down, and this thing, it kind of snaps into place. So once you have all 4 in, make sure you hear that click. And that's how you know that it is in place and where it should be. Now from here, you can simply, I actually prefer to put the cover back on, and hopefully you can see it in the video, there's a little notch right here. This is for the cable, and you want to make sure that the cable is run through this so you don't pinch it on the plastic here. So you need to sort of line it up and make sure that when you actually put this down, that it's not going to pinch the cable. And again, this one just kind of snaps into place here. And you can start putting these, just make sure you're using the right ones. The smaller ones are going to be for the 4 outside holes here. And they're more, well, they're both the screws are pretty coarse thread. So it doesn't take too many spins. And be sure, again, this is plastic, so you don't need to tighten them too hard. Then we can put the 80mm fan over this, and with the feet it will actually be perfect. And these you don't want to tighten too much either, because the size of the head of these screws is almost the same size as the holes for this fan. So if you tighten it too much, the screw might actually go through. These don't need a whole lot of holding pressure to stay in place. There shouldn't really be anything tugging on this. So you can just tighten it down until you see it kind of make contact with the fan here. And then now that you have these screws on, you can put the feet back on. And now this is set to have quite a bit more airflow than it did before. And you can see from the top, there actually is this plastic from the fan here to prevent really anything from getting down in here. But when you're sliding the drive on, there should never make contact with the fan. This should be totally fine, and you're going to get the maximum amount of airflow. All right, I highly recommend these Sabrent 3.0 drives. I'll have a link in the description if you're looking to get one. And that will be it for the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.